Yeah.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Before we start, I just want to, on behalf of the board, offer our deepest condolences to the family of Brian Cardos Jr. We all send out our thoughts and our prayers and share with the community in grieving his untimely loss. That being said, I'd like to get a roll call, please.
Mrs. Cooper Trinidad?
Here.
Mrs. Craig is not here. Ms. DeWall Malafite?
Here.
Mr. Juliana?
Here.
Ms. Van Zam?
Here.
Mrs. Steele?
Here.
Mrs. DeWall is not here. Mrs. Whitty?
Here.
Mr. D'Agostino?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Would you please join me in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of the public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Sussex-Wantage Regional School District Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the school building and notice of said meeting sent to the New Jersey Herald and the Star Ledger.
The Sussex-Wantage Regional School District is a responsive, caring, child-centered community. Our mission is to educate each individual to become a competent, lifelong learner and productive, responsible citizen by providing challenging opportunities in a safe environment through a partnership of families, schools, and communities.
All right, at this time, we will move on to the report of the Superintendent of Schools. And I would just like to make note, well, you could hear him, but Mr. Gall is currently quarantining due to an exposure outside of the district, but thanks you to Mr. Kronsky and his team for setting him up, kind of like the Wizard of Oz, right, Mr. Gall? Thank you.
Yeah, it's quite the marvel of technology, so we appreciate it, Mr. Kronsky. I'd like to invite Mr. Schwartz up to recognize Students of the Month.
Good evening, Mr. Gall, Mr. D'Agostino, members of our Board of Education, and members of our audience tonight. While our circumstances continue to be anything but normal, our students continue to impress us with their determination, grit, ability, and achievements. Before I begin tonight, I would like to acknowledge the hard work and courage of all of our students, teachers, and parents. It takes patience, flexibility, organization, and a variety of other skill sets to ensure that each child is successful. I would like to thank the entire SMS community for all that they have done for our students. Tonight, I will recognize the March Students of the Month from each grade level. These students have gone above and beyond this year and deserve high praise for their achievements and growth. The 6th grade Student of the Month for the month of March is Olivia Towler. Olivia is a young lady that approaches every day in every class ready to learn. Her teachers stated the following: we would like to nominate Olivia Towler. She is a respectful, friendly, and upbeat young lady. Olivia is hardworking and strives to do her best, which has resulted in much academic progress and success. She also cooperates well with her classmates, demonstrating a caring and positive attitude. Her positive attitude and work ethic is contagious, and she is truly a pleasure to have in class. Olivia has continued to demonstrate growth over the first 3 marking periods, and her teachers are excited to see what she can do at the end of the school year. Outside of school, Olivia can be found in the dance studio where she spends 6 days a week. She has always loved dance and is part of a competitive dance team. Dance has been a great experience for her, and she looks forward to continuing it for many years. Please join me in congratulating Olivia as the 6th grade Student of the Month.
Congratulations. Awesome job, all right?
The 7th grade student of the month for March is Tyler Morrow. Tyler's teacher stated the following: the 7th grade team would like to nominate Tyler Morrow for the student of the month. Tyler is always upbeat and positive. He actively participates in every lesson and positively interacts with his classmates. Tyler is eager to learn, asks questions freely, and is always up early and on time to his classes. Tyler has been able to grow in all areas of life throughout this school year. His study habits, including his focus on Quizlet study tests, his personality adding humor to his classes and engaging teachers and peers with a smile, or his unbeaten record in Kahoot can all demonstrate his growth, as he should be very proud of himself. Tyler has not missed a beat this past year. He continues to perform at a high level, and more importantly, continues to bring so many positive aspects to each of his classes. This young man is going places, and we all cannot wait to see what he achieves. Please join me in congratulating Tyler Morrow as the 7th grade student. The 8th grade student of the month for March is John Elko. Over the past year, John has demonstrated consistency. He has demonstrated responsibility, and he has demonstrated an intrinsic motivation to achieve. During this turbulent time, when things have been anything but normal, John has demonstrated an ability to handle diverse situations, and we know that he will continue to utilize these skill sets as he moves forward. John's team of teachers stated the following when nominating John for this recognition: the 8th grade team would like to nominate John Elko for Student of the Month. John has been consistent throughout this hybrid, all-remote year. He hasn't missed meets and consistently comes on time. His work is stellar along with his attitude. He's a great example of a responsible 8th grade student. John is also involved in various sports throughout the year. John is excited for the opportunities that high school will bring. He is planning to participate in sports and clubs and looks forward to meeting new people as he moves on to High Point. As we say goodbye to John at the end of the school year, we know that the sky's the limit, and we are all looking forward to watching what this young man will achieve in the future. I can tell you that he has had a positive impact on his teachers, peers, and the entire SMS community along the way. Please join me in congratulating John as the 8th grade student. Congratulations, sir. Great job.
Thank you, Mr. Schwartz, and once again, congratulations to all the recipients. If those folks who came out for the Student of the Month did not want to stay for the entirety of the meeting, which we always encourage people to do, now would be the opportune time to depart.
Congratulations, guys.
And I just wanted to apologize to the group for my inability to attend in person. Unfortunately, one of my children was diagnosed with COVID, and the Department of Health has directed me to quarantine until later next week. So the focus of our meeting tonight will be the budget presentation, the tentative budget presentation that I'm going to turn the meeting over to Mrs. Riker in a moment. But I just wanted to make a statement about how profoundly grateful for all the work that our Board of Education, Administration, and Business Administrator have put into crafting this tentative budget. Many of you may be aware from previous budget presentations, our district has been faced with extraordinary fiscal challenges due to looming state aid reductions. I'm appreciative that the Board of Education allowed us to engage in a multi-year strategic process to address these fiscal challenges in a systematic way that places us on a much firmer footing. Strategies like consolidating administration at the onset of the strategic plan allowed us to foster an environment of mutual respect in which we place the focus on the teaching and learning process as our top priority. In my opinion, it set the stage for collaboration with stakeholders and our labor organizations, the Sussex-Wantage Education Association and the Sussex-Wantage Administrators Association. It's that spirit of cooperation that fostered an environment in which we could have honest and respectful conversations about modifying employee health benefit packages that were ultimately of mutual benefit to the employee and the district. It's that process that has placed us on solid ground moving forward. In the tentative budget process that Mrs. Riker will present, we are able to plan for the challenges that await us next year, as well as give back to the taxpayers. This has been no easy task, and coupled with the challenges of a worldwide pandemic, it was a Herculean effort. We'll be eternally grateful for the collaboration we've enjoyed with our administration, Board of Education, SWIA, and SWAP. Thank you. That being said, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Mrs. Riker, our business administrator.
At this time, if you guys want to go into the audience, because we're going to. I think I'm going to try another one. Do you want to just check and make sure that's okay with the lights? You good, right? Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to talk about the tentative budget for next school year. Normally, we don't do a budget presentation at this time of the year. We usually talk about the highlights and throw out the estimated tax levy, but as Mr. Gold talked about, there's a lot of great stuff in this budget, as well as a tax reduction to the community. So we kind of wanted to talk about it and give everybody an opportunity to hear what we've planned. And again, a lot of that's in part due to the savings and health benefit that we have next year, or from this year till next year. So I'm going to talk about the revenues, what we have in this budget, capital projects that we're planning. We always try to do capital projects every year. Projected class size going into next year compared to this year, the estimated tax levy, what's next in the budget cycle, and then if anybody has any questions that I can answer, I'd be happy to do so. So revenues, like Mr. Gold talked about, we're in a 5-year span of estimating to lose $3.5 million. This year we projected we were going to lose $877,000 in that cycle. We actually didn't lose as much as anticipated, but we still lost almost $673,000 as compared to this year. Something that is not normal and won't happen every year, we do have a $2.3 million of surplus, which a lot of schools had. Our auditor talked about it during our our audit presentation. Because of the closures last year and not having to pay a lot of the expenditures that we normally pay, we ended up with a little bit more surplus. So that money is flowing into this year. We're using $862,000 of capital reserve, and everything that we're going to talk about means that our budget, we're coming out with a minus 1.03, which is 3.03 less than the 2% cap that we could come out at. And we also are not using any of the cap banking eligibility we have. We're letting almost $200,000 expire with this year's budget. So some of the things that are included, and part of this is a COVID response, so not knowing and anticipating what next year is going to look like, but knowing that we probably want to make it as easy a transition as possible. We budgeted some extra teachers in each of the buildings to try to reduce class sizes for that social distancing and trying to get everybody to come back, all students back in school in September. We're still needing to hire an LDTC here at the middle school, an RTI coordinator, 2 part-time BSI teachers, a district floating custodian that'll kind of probably work half-day, half-evening shift for additional cleaning help, especially during the lunchtime, and a part-time desktop technician, which we've already hired in this year, but will continue in next year's budget to help with our ever-expanding technology inventory and needs. Speaking of technology, normally every year we buy 2 sets of Chromebooks. Usually we do a 3rd grade and a 6th grade. This year we've budgeted for 3 sets because we're gonna have to take back in all of those Chromebooks. We're not sure what they're going to look like when they come back and how they're going to be ready for next school year. So we just added an additional set just to make sure we're ready for September. You know, for the digital, to bridge that digital learning gap, we have some hotspots out there in the community now that we've used some grant money for. We will not have that money next year, so we're budgeting again for approximately 20 students, another year's worth of that if necessary. In the cycle of the technology department, you know, we started installing cameras a long time ago, probably before a lot of other districts did. And so now we're at the time in our process where we need to replace all the servers to make sure that for the integrity of our system. And some new security cameras, district-wide, you know, placement to be determined at all 3 buildings at the request of the security guards. And we're here in the middle school, the auditorium with this board meeting. We probably will look to have more board meetings in here, and we're looking to enhance the sound system here because this is better than the gymnasium, but it is old, and we want to do something about that. Instructional items, we're looking for a new K-2 reading series. We're budgeting for the purchase of additional furniture as needed for those extra classrooms to assist with social distancing. And we're renewing all existing software, including some that from the remote learning experience, new stuff that we've added at the request of teachers, so we've budgeted to continue those. Facilities repairs and maintenance. At the board offices, we have to replace the fire stairs that go up to the 2nd floor. We have a server room there that's very key to our district, and it needs to be a certain temperature, and that air conditioner in there needs to be replaced. At Lawrence, we're going to replace the front doors and rekey the inner doors. We're going to complete 3M security film in all the buildings in the district. We've kind of been in a phased process, but whatever is needed in all 3 buildings, we're going to do that. Wantage, we're going to do some window repairs, and we're going to replace drop ceiling in 2 classrooms. At the middle school, we're going to renovate the lower boys and girls bathroom, adding stair treads on the painted stairs, and adding an additional bottle fill water station, update and repair the burglar alarm, and to repair the parking lot behind the building. Capital projects, and this is also, I don't want to say it's a COVID response, but it is to work on the air quality in the district. At Lawrence, the kindergarten wing univents project. At Wantage, there's a univent replacement project in 3rd grade wing, a ventilation unit replacement in 4th grade wing, and auditorium ventilation initial work here at the middle school. At Wantage, there's also an elevator replacement and a window replacement in the 6th grade wing here at the middle school. Other capital items in the budget is replacing 2 district vans. Usually every year we have to replace one part of the bus inventory. We didn't do anything last year, but we do have 2 vans that it's necessary due to the age and mileage of the vehicles. We have been there to purchase a John Deere utility tractor. If we have another winter like this year, that'll be instrumental in helping move snow and for other district maintenance use. So we talked about adding those additional teachers and what that would do to class size. So right now, the current class size ranges from a high of 23.25 to a low of 18.8. And with the changes and where the principals were going to be placing those additional teachers, it would range from 17 and change to a high of 19 and a half. And you can see by grade level the class size reduction by adding that additional staff. As I talked about in an earlier slide, the estimated school year tax levy based upon this budget with everything in it is a minus 1.03. Move a little bit so I can make sure I can read it. So for Wantage Township, they had every year the regional allocation switches from one community to the next, and that has an impact on the taxes. So this year, the regional allocation increased in Wantage and decreased in Sussex. Wantage also had a ratables decrease, and Sussex had a ratables increase. So that affected the overall percentages you'll see, because everybody won't see the minus 1.03 in their calculations. But for Wantage, on the average home assessed at $261,178, there's a minus 0.5% overall decrease in tax, minus $1.38 a month. Per month, and $16.60 per school year. Whereas Sussex Borough, because they had the allocation decrease and their ratables increased, on the average home assessed at $180, $197, they're seeing a 2.65 overall decrease in tax, $5.22 per month, or $62.61 on the estimated school year tax levy. Mr. Gold wanted me to express a special thanks to all district stakeholders and the Board of Education for allowing us to take atypical steps using a multi-year strategy to put us in the best position possible to absorb reductions in state aid, such as consolidating administration, and forging an atmosphere of collaboration that set the stage for a transition to a new health benefits package for employees, without which we would not be in a position to submit a tentative budget under zero. So what's next? Tonight we're going to adopt the tentative budget that's due to the county by Monday. The next, it would be the public budget hearing, which is normally when we would do a big presentation. And that will be here in the auditorium on Thursday, April 29th at 7 p.m. And that's it. If anybody has any questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gall and Mrs. Riker. And I just want to thank Mrs. Riker, Mr. Gall, and the building principals, the staff, the Board of Education, everybody that worked on this budget. I think a lot of times a budget is kind of the worst of both worlds. You have to raise taxes and you don't get a lot, but this one is the best of both. We get to cut taxes and get a lot for the district. So thank you very much. At this time, we will move on to audience remarks. Members of the audience are invited to make brief comments about items on this agenda and matters of interest to the district. I just want to remind everybody, please be respectful with your comments and just face the board, and we'll address any potential questions hopefully after everybody's done. Thank you. Ms. Statron, lead through it.
Andrew Scardo, Wantage, New Jersey. As I drove through town last Thursday morning with my youngest in my car, it was a very surreal sight to be seen. The amount of care, love, and compassion that exists in our town is second to none. Bus drivers wearing their masks, picking up and dropping off students, along with staff members, principals, and security guards greeting students. From what I could see, it was all hands on deck. In this not-so-perfect situation, I saw a lot of perfect things happening. Tyler and Ethan had a great week. Ethan got to see a friend that he had not seen for almost a year ago in 2nd grade. I asked him how it was when he saw his friend, and he simply told me that it was like he had just saw him yesterday. They started talking as if a year hadn't even gone by. Well, that says a lot, and I think that we could learn a lot from our kids. Tyler, my kindergartner, who has had a harder time adjusting to school, after all, how do you make friends when you're not in school, was also very excited to bring home a book from library. He is also still very excited the fact that he has the same kindergarten teacher as his older brother did. These little but very happy big moments would not have happened if everyone wasn't focused on being a team player. Teachers came to work, students went to school, and they did what they would do in a normal situation. Yes, it is half days, but it is baby steps and is in the right direction. At the end of the boys' week, I received a picture from Ethan's class, and yes, they were smiling under the masks, and a picture of Tyler reading for Flashlight Friday. Thank you to all the principals, teachers, security guards, custodians, teachers' aides, cafeteria personnel, and the bus drivers for setting the example for our children that no matter what challenges they will face, they will always have someone in their school to help them figure it out. I personally never realized all the detail and planning that goes into a day at school, let alone during a pandemic. Perhaps every parent should take a drive through town in the morning or at the end of the school day. I promise you that you will be pleasantly surprised. After all this is said and done, it is going to take a monumental team effort to get our children back on track. But I have to say, I have a good feeling that it has already started. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment, Mrs. Sparta. Are there any other public comments? Yes.
Hi, Christina Lane, Wantage. Mr. Gall, I can't see you, but I know that you're there. I know that I had emailed regarding having a Board of Ed meeting, live streamed where we can actually participate. So I just wanted to, put it out there that we still wanted, there he is. I just wanted to put it out there and say it would be really nice if we could, move forward and, put the Board of Ed meeting somehow on Zoom, Google, whichever platform would work. That way the whole, Wantage can participate.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I crashed. Thank you very much.
You got it?
Yeah, can you just turn this a little this way? I think I crashed it. Thank you. So just to address that comment, we can look into trying to make it more accessible virtually. This meeting, I believe we had the district email, BOE 2021, at swregional.org on the website, so you could submit a comment beforehand, and of course watch live, but we could certainly talk about trying to make it more accessible for those that are watching from home. Thank you for that. Any other public comments? All right, seeing none, we will move on to the board secretary certification, please.
Pursuant to NJAC 6A 23A-16.10C3, I certify that as of February 28, 2021, no line item account has encumbrances and expenditures which in total exceed the line item appropriation in violation of NJAC 6A 23A-16.10A.
Thank you. And are there any minutes to approve, Mrs. Riker? I don't have it on my agenda.
No, there are none.
There are none, okay. There is no need for executive session on agenda items, so we will move on to the presentation of agenda items, please.
Okay, on personnel, we're looking for a motion on item 1 through 8.
I'll motion. I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on personnel? All right, roll call, please.
Mrs. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Whitty?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper Trinidad?
Yes.
Ms. DeWall Malafite?
Yes.
Mr. Giuliano?
Yes.
Ms. Ranzan?
Yes.
Mrs. Stahl?
Yes.
Mr. D'Agostino?
Yes.
Motion carries. On policy, looking for a motion on items 1 and 2.
Thank you. Any discussion on policy? Roll call, please.
Ms. Whitty?
Yes.
Mrs. Stahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper Trinidad?
Yes.
Ms. DeWall Malafite?
Yes.
Mr. Giuliano?
Yes.
Ms. Ranzan?
Yes.
Mrs. Steele?
Yes.
And Mr. D'Agostino?
Yes.
Motion carries. On finance, we're looking for a motion, items 1 through 10.
I'll motion. I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on finance? Roll call, please.
Ms. Ranzan?
Yes.
Mrs. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper Trinidad?
Yes.
Ms. DeWall Malafite?
Yes.
Mr. Giuliano?
Yes.
Mrs. Stahl? Ms. Whitty?
Yes.
Mr. D'Agostino?
Yes.
Motion carries. And finally, on special services, I'm looking for a motion on items 1 and 2.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on special services? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Stahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Whitty?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper Trinidad?
Yes.
Ms. DeWall Malafite?
Yes.
Mr. Giuliano?
Yes.
Ms. Ranzan?
Yes.
Mrs. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. D'Agostino?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. At this time, we will move on to unfinished business. Does anyone on the board have any unfinished business you would like to discuss? And please just yell out because I can't see you. All right, we'll move on to new business. Does anyone have any new business they would like to discuss on the board?
It's not really, I don't know if it's business or not, but I mean, I don't know if this is the right time, but, you know, I do have a child that's in the district, and, with going the full days, everybody being together, I've heard nothing but positive things so far, so I'm very thankful and grateful for everyone working together. That's what it is.
Thank you, Mrs. Woody. Is there any other new business?
Yeah, if I could just make a comment, Mr. D'Agostino, Mr. Schwartz has informed me that his perception is that this meeting is going extraordinarily well, and I shouldn't come to future meetings.
As I was just thinking, I hope nobody jinxes this. Thank you, Mr. Gall. All right, if there's no other new business, we will move on to audience remarks. Again, members of the audience are invited to make brief comments about items on this agenda and matters of interest to the district. Are there any other public comments? Seeing none?
I refer you to Mr. D'Agostino, so if there's any of those emails, I'm not aware
Oh,
of
I'm
Mr.
sorry. Yes,
Constantine, you know.
Thank you, Mr. Gall.
No, there are none.
Okay, there are no emails.
No.
So we will look to move into an executive session No action will be taken. I'll be approximately 15 minutes. And I'd like a resolution, please, Mrs. Riker.
Whereas pursuant to NJSA 10-4-12B, the Sussex-Wantage Regional Board of Education may exclude the public from any portion of a public meeting at which the board discusses any of the matters described at NJSA 10-4-12B 1 through 9. Now therefore be it resolved that the Sussex-Wantage Regional Board of Education shall enter into closed session to discuss personnel matters. Now therefore be it further resolved by the Sussex-Wantage Regional Board of Education that pursuant to NJSA 10-4-13B, the time when and the circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public is when the need for confidentiality no longer exists.
Thank you. Looking for a motion for executive session, please.
All motion.
Thank you. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you, everybody. If you stick around, we'll be back soon. If not, thank you for coming out. If we could do this again next month, that'd be awesome. Thank you for your patience. I'm going to look for a motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Have a good night, everybody.